School was
illegal games like Genocide. We used to play Genocide at school.
And I loved it. I was very naughty in biology classes.
it was bearable.
Looking back, I would say...
Welcome back to No Ordinary Life, where ordinary people like Gavin,
Okay.
Julie, Anne, Andy,
Push that back.
April,
Okay.
Susanna,
It's really funny.
Spencer, Sarah, and B
I'm just painting pictures.
talk about their extraordinary lives.
What was school like?
School was
What was school like?
Originally, when we first went to the orphanage,
it was bearable,
My junior high school.
but I can't say I particularly enjoyed it.
we went to school in Chertsey at Stepgates.
I remember really well.
Leave a comment below.
And I was actually delighted when I was 16 when my parents decided to move to Cheltenham.
We were there with the older children who'd come back from America, where they were evacuated to during the war.
It's fun and it's good. It's all about playing and have fun, really.
Because it meant that I could actually leave the school.
Until
I don't really remember study much because
one of the masters behaved badly, and
It was a very, as I said, very old-fashioned school.
abused a couple of the children.
I'm more focused on playing volleyball, really.
An old-fashioned grammar school.
And he was got rid of, and we all went back to Silverlands and had lessons at Silverlands for a short while.
Everybody was expected to go on to further education.
And I play volleyball for school and for city.
Or indeed go into medicine or whatever.
I was very happy there. I loved it, and I liked the lessons.
So I was delighted.
Yeah, school was fun.
School for me was a really strange thing because
Subject that they teach everything.
when I was going to school, we still had the slipper and the cane and stuff.
Well, what different here? But I don't know to say it for right. What probably they teach us
Corporal punishment, which isn't capital punishment, I warn you, but it's pretty close. Going to school was a big deal. I mean, nowadays it's all different.
something different than here. It's like
I think we had more.
growing plans,
You see, you'd walk to school with your parents,
cooking,
and as soon as you learn the route,
baking cake.
off you go down the road with your mates. And we're talking about really, really young, because back then,
Oh, and also I remember Thai school
it's like there were people watching the kids all the way to school. There was no cameras.
get you to brush your teeth after your lunch as well before you line up to go back to your class.
The only windows was like the women's windows.
That's something probably they don't do here, I think.
They were looking out at them and they'd watch the kids go all the way to school. So the community was really tight.
Stay tuned.
Best days of my life.
What was school like for me? I really enjoyed school.
Playing bulldog,
We used to play games that are really like illegal, man.
kiss chase.
Boy over her knee, pulling down his trousers and
We used to burn human effigies once a year.
smacking him.
Generally speaking, I really quite enjoyed school.
I think, well, you must have had a fairly boring life since school.
The conversation continues.
What was school like?
So my school days were
Best days of my life.
pretty average.
Primary school was the best.
I was a pretty average pupil.
What was school like for me? I really enjoyed school.
Junior school was
I always had
very enjoyable.
quite a good group of friends.
I went to a school in New Cross because that's where we were living at the time.
Again, it's a village school,
I had the best time.
I would say it was quite popular in school.
very much part of the ongoing community.
Quite good at sport.
Playing bulldog,
People look up to you a little bit if you're good at sport.
kiss chase.
I was actually quite intelligent, believe it or not.
Past the 11 plus, and I went to Geneva Grammar School in Swansea.
My favourite lesson was wet play, basically when it rained and we couldn't go outside.
Always be sort of like top of the class.
Did I enjoy school? Not especially.
We would just literally sit and play,
Up until the age of about 13.
do paper chains.
There were subjects that I was very good at, like English.
And maths out and doing roly-polies on the floor.
Yeah, I really enjoyed school.
Subjects I couldn't stand.
Then changed a little bit for me as we went into sort of the
like the sciences, all the sciences.
higher years within high school.
Secondary school was...
Up until the year before my GCSEs, I wasn't working hard enough.
Looking back, I would say...
I went to an all-girls school.
I was probably quite bored in school.
I sort of worked really hard in the last year before my GCSEs and still got good enough results to do my A-levels.
The standard of teaching was pretty awful.
Secondary school was fun.
And then my A-levels...
There seemed to be a lot of teachers there who'd been there a long time. I think they were bored.
Didn't take it as seriously as I should have.
It was very traditional because they were talking about the 1960s.
Didn't work out. I ended up with a D in art out of the three subjects that I studied.
The schools were switching over from grammar to comprehensive just about when I was leaving after I did my A-levels.
But yeah, I always got on with pupils and teachers as well.
Met my first boyfriend.
I don't look back on my school days with any sort of dislike.
Generally speaking, I really quite enjoyed school.
People who say that school days are the best days of your life.
It was best days of my life. Wish I could go back.
I think, well, you must have had a fairly boring life since school.
What do you think?
My school days I absolutely loved.
What was school like in New Zealand?
I then from there went up to London to my school I'd won a scholarship to.
I went to a really progressive primary school.
Which was the Bally School, which in those days was called Cane-Wielding.
So the principal really wanted to engage the students as much as possible. So
if you were a certain age, you did your scholastic things in the morning.
He owned a farm, so we'd go and do farm visits at his farm.
And then your theatre things in the afternoon or vice versa, depending on your age.
He organised the school.
And I loved it.
So there was these 2 classrooms set away from the school.
I loved it. I was very naughty in biology classes and spent...
Where one teacher was a performer.
Most of the time outside the door.
Musician and actor.
But I did love it because I loved all the dance classes.
And the other teacher was a writer.
And we had, competitions at the end of the season.
Teaching you the curriculum, but through art or through performance or through writing.
If you were lucky, like I was.
I was lucky enough to be kind of singled out and taken into that performance class.
You got to do actual work, and got paid for it.
And I really do think that cemented in me the performer in me, the artist in me.
Don't forget to subscribe.
What was school like?
You'd go to school, you'd go past a sweet shop, you'd get like tuppence.
School wasn't great. I never really liked school.
2 pence, that is, for you young'uns, tuppence.
Did quite well up to a point when I just didn't want to go anymore.
For that, you could get like 8 aniseed balls. I mean, 2p's, a lot of money back then.
It was boring, it was rubbish, it was strict.
I think a working man would get £9 per week, and that was like a council job. So
in school, girls were encouraged...
A penny was worth something.
...to take lessons such as sewing.
You'd get your sweets, you'd go to school, you'd share them with your friends.
Cookery.
A completely different world.
And childcare.
Compared to the way things are now.
While boys were encouraged into...
The school would also be...
sciences and...
a meeting place, like where you'd meet other children.
Woodwork.
Other children like from your community.
DT and stuff like that.
Boys would all walk around with their arms.
And tech.
And it was a leftover.
Yeah, we weren't encouraged at all into anything that we...
We used to play games that are really like illegal, man.
Weren't encouraged to believe we could have a career in science or technology.
Illegal games like Genocide. We used to play Genocide at school.
Anything like that, really. Anything exciting and seemed...
Did you?
For boys.
Yeah, it was called Cowboys and Indians. Do you remember?
Although my best friend did become a designer.
Didn't even realise, but we're little tots. And that's a racist bloody game, man.
School was strict when I was a child. I remember in primary school.
No one wants to be an Indian. Check that out.
Teachers actually beating pupils.
We used to burn human effigies once a year.
Which is crazy now, that's...
On Guy Fawkes, yeah, we used to make a human effigy and walk around and ask people for money.
Smack them on the palm of the hand with a...
Being in South London, in Brixton, South London...
with a stick.
We had the ultimate melting pot.
I remember at one point,
People don't know about how multicultural Brixton actually was.
One teacher in primary school actually,
and still is, but more so before,
putting a boy over her knee,
everyone's kid is your kid.
pulling down his trousers and
That was the mentality.
smacking him,
Everyone's kid is your responsibility.
which is, I can vividly remember that day.
You used to leave your kids outdoors, send them out at 9 a.m. They used to come back 9 p.m.
I still remember it so clearly. Horrified me.
All of them together. Yeah, it was a completely different society.
Next time.
What adventures did I get up to in my first car?
We had this bright green Fiat Panda.
And I'd go around corners too fast and it would
A lot of adventures.
tip over on the side. I loved it.
Driving around Macclesfield.
We just go to a waterfall somewhere.
The Kia stick was like in the dashboard.
The police stop you, goes, "Is this your car?" So you go, "Yeah." "You sure?"
With drum and bass blaring out of it.
I'm not going to tell you anything about backseat adventures.
No Ordinary Life. Thank you for watching.
Right. The meaning of life. I have no idea.
Subscribe to keep the conversation going and don't forget to ring the bell.